And now it's time for your afternoon world literature news with your anchors, Joel Brown,
Shelby Huff,
Kelsey Robertson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to World Literature News. I'm your anchor man, Joel Brown, and these are my co-anchors, Kelsey Robertson and Shelby Huff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today, we'll be updating you on our lead story, The God of Small Things. Let's get right to it. In Chapter 3, we learn transitions into present-day Ayamunnan at the house where Rahel and Esther had grown up in. We learn that the house has become run down and filthy as baby Kokomia and her servant, Kocha Maria's lack of effort to maintain the house. Esther also has returned home after 20 plus years from being sent away from his uncle Chaco. We learn that Esther has become very refrained from society, silent, and just kind of wise in his own way. We also discovered that Rahel decides to return home as well from America to see her long lost twin that she hasn't seen in forever. With Esther returns home from one of his walks that he usually liked to take, and upon his return there and seeing Rahel, there are no words spoken, and there's just an awkward silence in exchange as he goes to his room, which used to be his mother's. The room is the only tidy and organized, clean thing in the house, and as he enters the room, he begins to remove his clothes and to wash them. Rahel also starts to wonder, does he really notice that I'm here? But at the same time, she begins to compare her body to his as they are now adults. Still no words are spoken, and we're left there with an awkward ending to see what's going to happen next. Now in Chapter 4, we return back to the past with Rahel and Esther as children. The scene starts off in a short one, but somewhat important. We see that the kids still have joy and that they have still maintained their innocence. They are about to use the restroom before seeing the play, The Sound of Music, and Rahel enjoys this moment that she shares with her mother and her aunt. Because it's just them being themselves, and she sees it as a moment of friendship. And we also learn that Esther has completed his first act as an adult, and his mother is very proud of him. So now after that scene, we move to them being late to the Sound of Music play. The crowd is already very frustrated with them because they have to make them stand up while they're squeezing into their seats. And as the play goes on, the nuns begin to sing, and we hear little Esther singing along with them out loud. The crowd is very annoyed and frustrated and asks him to be quiet, and he asks his mother to leave because he can't help himself. He just wants to sing along. So then he decides to retreat to the lobby. And as he enters the lobby, what's that? Sorry, we have a late breaking. We're cutting to Kelsey real quick.
Everybody, I have just received news that there is a sexual predator on the loose who's preying on small boys at the neighborhood movie theater. He's known as the Orange Drink, Lemon Drink Man and is preying on small men. I will give you more information as it is received. Now back to you, Joel.
Thank you for that report, Kelsey. That disgusts me. Back to the story. Esther is in the lobby and he is singing and awakens who we have just reported, the Orange Drink, Lemon Drink Man. The man is awakened and he is also annoyed as well and asks Esther to refrain from singing. Esther says that he's almost done and decides to return, but the Orange Drink, Lemon Drink Man counter offers and says that he will give him a free drink. The only catch is that he must go behind the counter to have the drink. Esther accepts the bargain and goes back there, to which we learn that the Orange Drink, Lemon Drink Man has added another victim to his list and sexually molests Esther. I've just received information that this is a sketch of what the orange drink, lemon drink man looks like. If you have any information, please report it to us. Thank you.
That is a disheartening story to hear.
It really is, Shelby. Let's see if Kelsey has an update on what has occurred after the aftermath.
Yes, in fact, Joel and Shelby, I do have the latest report. Witnesses say that they see Esta enter back the theater, and he's visibly shaken and becomes apparently nauseous and antsy, and quickly gets up right after he gets seated down to go back to use the restroom once again. Witnesses say Esta says, quote, "Oh, Baron von Trapp, could you love the little fellow with the orange in the smelly auditorium? He's just held the orange drink, lemon drink man so-so in his hand, but could you love him still?" End quote. We can see how Esta begins to struggle with the concept of love, and if he is able to be loved by his family, or even take it up another notch, and if he is able to be loved by a fictional family member named Baron von Trapp, the father figure of the 7 children in the play The Sound of Music. Esta's mental stability gets called into question here as he becomes closed off and silent towards his family, and it becomes evident that a strong father figure could be used in his family. Shelby, what's the latest with this twin, Rahel?
As Chapter 4 concludes, the twins still view the river as a peaceful place, as their river. They're unaware of the pain and harm that it will eventually bring to them. The text states, "On the next bed, his niece and nephew slept with their arms around each other. A hot twin and a cold one, he and she, we and us. Somehow, not wholly aware of the hint of doom that waited in the wings for them. They dreamed of their river. It was warm, the water, gray-green, like rippled silk, with fish in it, with the sky and trees in it, and at night the broken yellow moon in it." As Chapter 5 opens, the mood has changed. Rahel has now returned back to India as an adult and goes back to the same river to reflect upon her time as a child in India. The chapter begins with, years later, when Rahel returned to the river, it greeted her with a ghastly skull's smile, with holes where teeth had been, and a limp hand raised from a hospital bed. Both things had happened. It had shrunk, and she had grown. This reflects Rahel's growth over a child living in a different country outside of India with different experiences. In the chapter, she also runs into Comrade Pillai. His conversation with her gets her reminiscing on her childhood and her days in India. She has different flashbacks, including a visit to the doctor and getting a foreign object stuck up her nose. She also remembers her childhood with Sophie Mall and the relationship she and Esta had with Sophie Mall, both the good times and the bad. Like when Sophie used to make funny faces for pictures, and the time she told them that it was very likely that they were illegitimate children, and explained to them what it was that meant. Recently, I conducted an interview with Madhumita Dodd from Language in India Journal. She had studied the book and claims that no literature can ever be great unless it reflects real pictures of society. While Roy's book is not an autobiography, it is based off of her own experiences as her life as a child in India, so it is grounded in real life. Dodd also notes that Sophie Mall's accidental death coincided with the reveal of Amu's affair with an untouchable named Velutha. The simultaneous occurrence of the events resulted in a double shift of the twins' lives. Not only were they close friends with Velutha, despite his low caste system status, but they also lost Sophie Mall. The twins still liked Velutha, even though they weren't supposed to, because he treated them well, unlike many other people in their life. With the reveal of the affair, Velutha ended up being blamed for Sophie Mall's death as a means to get him away from Amu, and it also resulted in his own death. So the twins lost 2 people due to one accidental occurrence.
Well, that concludes our lead story for this afternoon. We'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. But before we go, I think Kelsey has a special announcement she would like to make.
Yes, I do. We'd like to congratulate Mr. Thomas, or should I say Dr. Thomas, on his new accomplishment of receiving his doctorate.
Congratulations, Professor. Thank you, guys. So Esther retrieves to the lobby, and as he retrieves to the lobby, we have our sexual predator of the week, Orange Drink Lemon Made Man.
Thank you, Joel and Shelby, for that wonderful entrance. Wait, what? Why the fuck did I say that?
That is disheartening to hear.
It is absolutely...
Everybody, please be on the lookout. There is a refreshment man known as the Orange Drink Lemon Drink Man who is apparently Uh,
And then in chapter 5, Rahel runs into comrade.
Oh,
I thought you were saying. I thought you were supposed to say.
All right. Anyways,
The end.
the end.